Welcome to the Brain Software Podcast. This is episode 286, and Mike and I have just returned from the lovely land of Las Vegas, otherwise known as Lost Wages. So we're going to talk all about what happened in Vegas. Well, the world's largest hypnosis conference is what happened, and how did we make it the best one ever? Oh, for us. It was fantastic. For a lot of people, we're going to talk about the story of JP and his weird 4-day trip from Toronto to Las Vegas. We're going to talk about conversational hypnosis and how you can make it work for you in the simplest possible way. We'll talk about pattern interrupts and how you use this in conversational hypnosis, by the way. How do we handle interrupting each other, Mike? We're going to talk about that.
We did a good job on dealing with that.
Oh, what are you talking about? We're interrupting each other right now.
I don't think we interrupt as much as talk over each other.
We're going to talk about Mike working with one of our good friends, Bob, to create something called condogenesis. What the heck is that? We'll get into it. And did it work? We'll get into that. And finally, can the world of hypnosis make friends with the world of clinical psychology? We're going to talk about our awesome conversation with hypnotist and clinical psychologist and postdoctorate trainer, Dr. Cameron Alldredge.
Of Baylor University.
Yes, Baylor University. All right, Mike, we need a disclaimer.
I've got a disclaimer for you. We just got back from Las Vegas, and everyone who comes back from Las Vegas needs a disclaimer, or at least a cover story. And this is ours. You heard me.
So please welcome back from Las Vegas, a man who needs no introduction, so we're giving him one. The creator of the Zip Up Your Fly Sailor Pattern Interrupt and the Keith Richards of hypnosis, ladies and gentlemen, Mike Mandel.
I just sort of wheeled myself in like Milton Erickson there. That was
wheel.
Cool.
That's a nice use of the word yield.
Now, I'm not turning into Erickson, though, as much as I, worship him as, well, I don't worship any human, but the GOAT, he was the greatest of all time. Amazing. But I will say that I really enjoyed being in Las Vegas and talking about Erickson and toasting him. But still, we did our own stuff. We have a different style, man. Yeah, so I wheel in, but it's not.
We bring, in fact, for all the people who haven't heard, we call our little group growing, not so little anymore. Storm Riders, hypnotic Storm Riders.
Yes.
What the heck is a Storm Rider?
Well, people ask that until they get it, and then they don't have to ask anymore. Years ago, I started playing blues ukulele in a podcast. I was playing Riders on the Storm by the Doors. And it turned into there's a giant effing storm, a big hypnotic storm. And then we started saying, there's a hypnotic storm raging worldwide, blowing away poor technique, gushing rain onto stupid trainings, and destroying with bolts of lightning outdated methodologies. How do we know?
Because we caused it.
Ride the hypnotic storm with us. Dominate right above all this stuff. Hurrah!
And that's right. I thought you were going to say, and the derisive nature of hypnotic scripts.
Oh, derisive. Yes.
That's really funny when people go, derisive.
Let's do a
what
neck
does that mean? Neck laughing. That's the one thing that's a pattern interrupt. We'll get into that.
Throat laughing we changed to, but I changed it with neck. Stay with neck because we give James.
Demonstrate that one more time just for my own amusement. And for those of you audio only people, you're going to need to go to YouTube.
You have to keep your mouth closed when you laugh for this. It's not as effective if you go, ha ha ha. But this thing.
It's like you're rubbing a sore throat, but in the most awkward way. Okay.
Too much on that one.
Let's just quickly mention that, we're back from Vegas. We've been going there now, first of all, for 10 years.
Except for COVID.
Yeah, that's right. I think there were 2 years that we missed, but it was the 10-year anniversary. 2025 was the 10-year anniversary from our first trip there in 2015, which is why I say 10 years. I mean, of actual time passed. And you know what? The hypnosis community is one that is welcoming, is warm, is friendly, and we have made some of the best friends we have in the world by going there. So if you're interested in hypnosis, and we don't get paid to say this, we bought our own tickets and our own plane tickets.
You betcha.
And our own conference tickets. I'm saying
our own hotel room.
Our own hotel, our own bar bill, everything. It's at our own expense, but we go to HypnoThoughts Live, and you should too. And the tickets are something like, I think by the end of it'll be a little more expensive, but it's under $400 right now
for the whole conference, including 3 amazing breakfasts.
The breakfasts. So Scott and Stephanie, thank you guys because they put on the best breakfast that I've ever seen at a conference. Honestly,
because you and I got to load up on our protein, mounds of scrambled.
Would have been an extra $100 easy for the 3 days.
Apple pork sausages, a pile of bacon, obviously done in a deep fryer to pack the fat into it. Incredible.
All right, so Vegas was amazing. We have so many awesome friends there. It was so Nice to see so many of you. Let's talk quickly about what's coming up, and then we're going to go straight into the
Content.
value part, the part that matters. So first of all, we are doing an online class in mindscaping. This is an amazing technique to take any client and have their unconscious generate the metaphor that will help solve their problem, and you are their guide.
And why is that important for us before you continue? Because people would marvel at Erickson nailing someone's problem and getting rid of it, but with the perfect metaphor, discussing it with them. Now, that's easy if you have Milton Erickson's unconscious mind, and of course, none of you do.
None of us do. Well, maybe you're the
no, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
just
either.
kidding.
But the beauty of mindscaping is it pulls the unconscious mind of your subject to provide the key that unlocks the problem.
Exactly.
Because the unconscious knows.
So we're doing it. It's 4 weeks as a live cohort. It starts on August 12th. So I believe by the time this goes out, that means you only have a few days. So make sure you head to MikeMandelHypnosis.com/events and you can sign up for the mindscaping class. The second thing is just a quick reminder, the November training in Toronto. It's a 5-day class. It's the architecture of hypnosis. This is what started the hypnotic storm many years back when Mike and I started teaching the class together in 2012, and we had David drive his Lexus from San Francisco to attend, and it was outstanding. The class has just grown in massive value.
It always sells out.
Power. Yes, it sells out, and it's going to sell out this summer because it's been selling out sooner. But anyway, it's on our website. You'll find it on the events page as well. We run the class November 10th through November 14th. And make sure you plan to stay past the Friday night, stay the extra night, hang out with us after because we do a little after party.
Yeah,
and fly
out, a little one.
Yeah, fly home or drive home no later than Saturday morning. It'll be worth it.
Guys, if you're coming from any distance, people come from Singapore, Australia. We had a guy from mainland China, New Zealand. Make sure you give yourself time to get through the jet lag because it's a big distance.
And if you live like within an 8-hour drive, it's more effective to just drive, and the parking at the hotel is free all week. Yeah, you'll save yourself
beautiful
a bunch of
hotel,
money.
Great setting. Please come out in November. I'm not going to plead with you because we will sell out, but we'll have a blast, man.
Yeah, what we mean by that, I suppose, is please, if you're thinking about doing this, do it for yourself because it'll fill out either way, and we don't want you to miss out. All right.
Because the next one will be May.
Yeah, May 2026. Okay, so I think we can get on with it.
Well, and let's do that.
Yeah, there's so much here to unpack. It's funny.
Let's start with that. Conversational hypnosis.
Yeah. Okay, so first of all, there are two people who, we have a really good friend in the hypnosis community, and he would not call himself a hypnotist, really, even though he knows he is one, but he doesn't really identify as one out in public. And his name is Bob Martin, and he actually runs a heating, ventilation, and air conditioning company. So he's a very successful entrepreneur, has a lot of people working for him, generates a lot of revenue.
Great guy, too. Super nice guy.
And so what's he doing showing up at a hypnosis conference?
One wonders.
Well, turns out, and I did an interview with him. I'll post it on YouTube. Hopefully it'll be posted by the time this goes out, and we'll have a link in the description. If not, it's not out yet, but it should be. He came into hypnosis for a totally different reason. It had to do with just interpersonal situations that he wanted to help people with. And he ended up studying a ton about conversational hypnosis and becoming very, very strong at it. And of course, the other person who has come at it from a different angle and a different way of applying it is our friend Timothy September.
Absolutely.
And his method, Enter the Loop. And we had some interesting conversations that unlocked some things for me, which is really cool. So we want to just talk a little bit about conversational hypnosis because Bob comes at it, it's truly conversational. In fact, it's much more covert. Covert simply meaning it's conversational without disclosing that you're running any kind of
good definition
hypnotic patterns.
Yeah.
As opposed to overt, I would say
you don't tell them.
Timothy's method, Enter the Loop, can become they can all become overt, but it starts much more overt because you're essentially offering to help somebody through conversation.
Instead of just talking to them about their issue.
Another way, Steve Rame, for example, he became a master of helping people with smoking cessation purely through talking to them. Now, they're paying him money. They know he's doing hypnosis with them, but it doesn't feel like everyday hypnosis.
Yeah, Steve Rame's brilliant.
It kind of, if I can describe it, Mike, and then I want to turn it over to you to talk about an interesting story from your background. One of the applications here is people run a program. So they get into a negative state because their brain is running some sort of program, and it's very good, like skiing through the well-worn-in trail, right, down the hill or whatever. And if we can screw up that trail, which we'll explain how we get there, then they can't run that program anymore.
They can't get back into that
and then
pattern.
they have to run a new program that just
considerable depth.
Probably better. So in fact, let's do it right now.
Let's do that.
You have many years ago, a video that was up on YouTube of talking about fixing a woman's depression. She labeled it that way.
Yeah, she did. I didn't.
With a wristwatch and a wall socket.
Yeah.
All right.
That was in the early, that's 30 years ago, man.
Yeah.
And it's, I didn't fix anything. She fixed the whole thing. She stepped up. This woman had a pattern, and she would, as we were talking, I'm beginning to see her sinking into her pattern and seeing her state change. And we'll be talking about state in the next podcast.
Right.
What's happened to her? Well, she runs this thing and she starts thinking about how her life is going nowhere, and then talks to her in this internal voice. So while she's getting into this thing to tell me how to do it, I scramble it. So she's having trouble getting in.
So you're like, well, tell me how you get into that crappy feeling. You use her label.
Yes. Yeah. So she starts talking about it, and I start smelling underneath my wristwatch.
So you're like,
yeah. So, but as though I'm distracted. So she's talking, and I'm sort of lifting the wristwatch where it's all nice and sweaty, just going, and then evaluating it. And she, what are you doing?
Now you have to be to do this, you've got to be able to pull it off theatrically.
You got to be congruent. Yeah. You got to be theatrical. So
we'll get to some other ways you can do this.
Sniff there. And she said, what are you doing? I said, nothing. Acting like a kid. I always had a kid caught with pornography. Nothing. And she said, you're smelling underneath your wristwatch. I said, no, I'm not. I said, I'm a therapist. Why would I do that? I was a therapist for 7 years. She's like, yes, you wouldn't. I said, that's right. Tell me about your problem again. I watched. She's doing
she's going back into
search. She's trying to find it again now. Now it takes her longer to get back in. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I got really depressed and this happened. And she's starting to cry and tear up and everything. And I did a really good one. I remember going, like almost reeling backwards. And
how long did you do this before you did the really insane sniffing?
Not very long. Just see that she's got the pattern happening again. And she said, you're definitely smelling under your watch. I said, I am not. Just tell me your story. Like, quit stopping. So, okay. So she starts again, and I start slowly standing up. And she's watching to see if I'm going to go for the watch again. And I'm keeping it close enough that it seems like I might. But instead, I went up to the wall socket, and I rubbed my hand over it.
Below you. Right?
Yeah, just on the wall socket, 3 feet off the ground, whatever. And near the desk. And she said, what are you doing now? And I went, as though I was smelling the electrons I just pulled from. That was it. Her pattern scrambled. And she's yelling, this is ridiculous. Is this, is there a hidden camera? Am I going to be on YouTube? Is this some sort of horrible joke you're doing on me? And I said, sit down, tell me about your problem. She said, no, you're going to start smelling stuff. I said, I promise I won't smell anything. Tell me about your problem. And she went, well, it's like, it seems to be, that's weird. And I said, gone? And she went, yeah. She couldn't get back in. So now we've scrambled it. Think about it like an old-time record, 33 1/3 RPM record, picking up the needle vibrations. And now I've gotten in with a chisel or something and scraped it all so it cannot play the pattern. So now we're going to replace that destroyed neural pathway or interjected.
She will rebuild her own
intersected neural pathway, interinfected neural pathway, build a new one.
And you can help her. Now, of course, you can help her construct that new pathway right on the fly. Or if somebody was doing this just conversationally, kind of wrecking somebody's, in a good way, ability to get into their old crap pattern, you probably want to still conversationally lead them to a new path. Lead them to a new direction. I said that very carefully.
Very carefully, yes, because of the fun.
Because if you don't, it is possible that they might still build some new pathway that's still kind of crap.
Still useless. So it might lead to the same.
And a formal hypnosis will help with this. NLP training will help with this. Conversational hypnosis will help with this. But I love this because this is so similar to what Bob was describing that he was doing when he had somebody dealing with like a really horrible interpersonal situation or a bad state. And he would ask them, well, tell me about the problem. And I think he did this with his mother. He said it in the interview.
This is HVAC Bob.
Yeah. And he was dealing with his mom was going through cancer and things were not going well. And she was getting into a really negative state. And he says to her something like, I saw on Facebook you got pregnant. Like that. Seriously, this was the pattern error. She's like, what? And he goes, yeah, Facebook's dangerous. You got to protect yourself, Mom. And like a hilarious.
That's way over the top.
Let the video speak for itself because he's obviously it's his story and he's much more congruent about it. It's so funny. Make sure you watch that video. And that's the kind of pattern interrupt. So you don't need to be theatrically genius like you.
Thank you.
I mean, I wouldn't say that most of the people I know who do this well, they're not amazing actors. They just get congruent about asking a weird question. And that starts the scratching process or the wrecking the well-ingrained snow trail down a hill process.
Nice. Yeah.
Whatever metaphor you want to use for a pathway that people are are on.
Well,
right?
pause there because rather than interrupt you, the one I like is the metaphor that I used all the time is if somebody walks through a forest
Yeah.
and more people follow it, it's an easy way through. Over time, you will get a path.
Yeah.
The foliage will be gone. The path will be intensified, will be deepened just by virtue of people using it over and over. And that's what happens with people's patterns, good and bad. They create a pathway that's so easy to access, the brain doesn't go anywhere else.
Slides right
so
in.
we're putting up a stop sign and we're saying, zip up your fly, sailor. You're not going down that path.
We're going to get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. Okay. So that's basically the idea, is that we're letting someone get into their natural flow of that pathway, walking down that pathway and feeling like crap about something. We're putting in a roadblock with a pattern interrupt and then leading them somewhere else.
And once we do that, that pathway that they used to traverse with no difficulty gradually becomes overgrown again. It will prune itself just from lack of use.
Yes. So the pattern interrupt, perfect timing, is pretty much the key to making it, well, one of the keys to making this happen.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some pattern interrupts that we've been using in Las Vegas. Now, most of the time, just for hilarity and fun. But as we'll discuss towards the end of this, there's a method to the madness. And if you can learn how to do these even just for fun, then guess what? You can use them in conversational hypnosis to help people scratch that needle on that 33 RPM record, as you said.
There's
and for
a
those of
madness
you,
to our method.
I think most of our audience probably remembers 33 RPM.
I don't know.
But if you don't, then just ask ChatGPT what's a 33 RPM record and it'll explain it to you.
Technically 33 and a
So
what a stupid.
Zip up your fly, sailor. It's time to move on.
Zip up your fly, sailor. We're going to keep talking about this.
All right.
I just want to give you the obverse of it. But that's interesting. So now we have the zip up your fly, sailor.
Pattern interrupt. We don't call it an intervention. Although it's funnier to call it that way, but it's really a pattern interrupt.
Yeah, it's and people picked up on this. Our new friend Claire, she was hilarious with this stuff. And
oh my God, at the dinner,
blast at the dinner table.
We're making these up at the dinner table.
Yeah, and the key is you have to start with zip up your fly, sailor. Now,
because
we've tested the resonance. It's not zip your fly up, sailor. It doesn't work.
Up your fly, sailor.
It has to be sailor. Don't say marine.
It sounds smoother.
It does.
Now pause there because that starts to seed the idea that this is weird in some sort of way.
Bizarre.
Like something bizarre is about to be said.
Right.
That, I mean, when you think of a fly, which is crotch region,
pretty much.
Obviously, people's brains start to go in one direction. Now, you finish the pattern interrupt with
and the other half of the sentence, which could be anything.
Which makes no sense.
It could be zip up your fly, sailor. There's no Lego blocks here.
Yeah, it could be zip up your
trying
fly,
to put these
sailor.
two together.
It's only Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that one I can sort of see.
Zip up your fly, sailor. The coffee pot's empty.
Zip up your fly, sailor. The photographer's left.
Yeah, anything like that. So this is one pattern interrupt we've been using with reckless abandon, and it's hilarious.
Zip up your fly, sailor. The village people have got.
Okay, maybe not.
It's just hilarious. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It's the only bad meaning is something entirely subjective that someone
in
else
the
puts
person's
on.
head.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can't be blamed for it. So anyway, these are just stupid examples of pattern interrupts that we can use for our own amusement. But you could probably use that as a pattern interrupt when someone's in their crappy negative state.
If someone's in a crappy negative state, I think my preferred one will be zip up your fly, sailor. The clinic's closed. Doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Maybe there's an eye testing clinic and he's got a bacterial infection.
So we were using that one. Let's move on to a few others because there's
Okay.
a few others. So this one, at that same dinner, I believe,
Yeah.
I was in obviously a playful mood. And I had to get up to find the restroom, which is outside of the restaurant.
Yeah.
So as I'm leaving the restaurant, it was the noodle restaurant at the Sahara Hotel.
What color were the noodles?
And as I'm walking past, there's a waitress, and she's positioned to take a photo of this table, this group, probably 12 people at a table.
Okay.
They looked like they were all dressed as part of a bridal party or
Wedding
something.
party, yeah.
They looked beautiful, and they were all nicely posed. This waitress is about to take the photo with one of the guests' iPhones, and I act as if she's part of the party. I say, "Oh, did you want to be in the photo?"
That was clever.
And the whole table erupts in laughter. It was one of my finest moments.
Well, that's good.
It's low bar.
It's
Low
where
bar
you
there.
took it. It's where you took it.
So the waitress is laughing at it too. The table's laughing. So I go use the restroom, come back. I tell the table about it. And then on the way out of the restaurant, still being in the same weird, playful mood, we're leaving. There's like 8 of us at the table. We're all leaving the restaurant.
Yeah.
And as I'm walking down the steps to the lobby, there's this really nicely dressed older couple. They're just standing there, probably on their way into the restaurant. They look fantastic. I just turn to them and I say, congratulations. Of course.
Did you say it somewhat joyfully, though?
Yeah, I just said it with a big smile. Congratulations.
So they just got married or, yeah.
So they're like looking at me.
And you walk away before they can respond.
I'm walking away. So we turned this. We want to talk about the
Well, yeah, because that doesn't sound like much, but I get the cleverness. Because what this did was Chris going from the wedding party, trying to put the waitress in the picture, to then expands his ability, says to a random couple, congratulations. So they've just got married or got out of jail or something like that. But he took that further. And this is what I really, this is what I really appreciated. Swinging the arm in here.
Oh.
Chris arranged, we had all our hypnotic storm riders who could make it in the back of the Cas Bar, which is in the Sahara Hotel, Las Vegas.
Yeah, there's a nice lounge area.
And it's a lounge area, there's couches, and there's places you can lie down and get up to all sorts of things. And there's also shelves full of books and interesting looking sculpture and items. So a bunch of us are sitting there, maybe 8 or 9.
Well, in the beginning, it started as maybe 4 or 5.
I'm just selling it as stronger than you. Okay, so we'll let
it turned into a group of 30, though.
Right, we'll edit that out, too. So that's the punchline. So it started with a few people. Your hand is creeping. Move it back.
Okay.
Looks like a spider.
Okay.
So, which would be fine with me.
Here, I'll just have
spiders
a sip
are
of
okay.
this water.
Yeah, ordinary water. So some random person comes in looking for the rest of our hypnotic storm riders, and everyone jumps up and yells, congratulations! Starts like freaking standing ovation.
And then you.
And then I grab an item off the shelf, this metal sculpture, bring it to the person as their award. And everybody's completely into it, like it's so wonderful, like it's the Oscar or something.
The way you carried the award towards
reverently,
like creepingly.
Reverently.
Yeah.
And so now they get it's a joke. And so the next person comes in, they've joined the welcoming committee.
So the group is now, the group is now N+1.
Yeah. So
and then N+2.
Door opens, or the doorway, someone comes in, zip up. Well, we could have done that. That'll be next year. But so just congratulations to the person, the shock on their face, everyone beaming at them, applauding wildly, standing.
Yeah.
It got to about 30.
I think Antonio Perez was the victim of this when it was a very large group. And he said it shocked him. It made him laugh.
He's going to PGO Spike. Like, what's happened? Have I won an award I don't know about?
That's the key. I want everyone to understand that these, while they can be used just for pure comedy, they create a PGO Spike.
Right.
Which is the electrical superhighway in the brain. You've explained it to me. The charge goes from the pons to the
geniculate body to the occiput.
PGO. Pons geniculate body occiput.
That's what we non-neuroscientists call it.
Right. That's what we call it. A PGO spike. Mm-hmm. So anything with shock, novelty, surprise, confusion.
Well, confusion will come out of that.
Right.
And in that confusion is our amazing psychiatrist, Christophe, who came to train with us from France. He said a PGO spike clears the mind to accept suggestion. So the shock of this, like the mind has gone blank and everyone's applauding and the brain starts trying to get out of this in the reorientation reflex is saying, did something wonderful? Have I won an award? Like there's a couple of seconds of absolute freak outness that happens there. It's amazing.
Yeah. So try those things on with your own groups of friends. I think they're freaking awesome.
Yes.
So I think that covers how they can be used aside from just humor, which is great. We should move on to talking about condogenesis.
Condogenesis. It does not mean you've created a new condominium.
Cartilage.
Yeah, it's cartilage.
Creation of new cartilage. So
our friend Bob Z, he showed up there. Great guy, super nice guy. He's the one who taught me all about Jinshin Jitsu, and because he's trained in it to multiple levels. Just a generally nice guy, and he's done very well in his life. But he's developed some hip pain, and I think he's quite a bit younger than me actually. He's developed some hip pain because the cartilage is just wearing away.
Yeah.
Now, when you get connective tissue like cartilage and tendons, like the damn tendonitis I still have here, even though my masseuse was working on it yesterday, like Jack the frickin' on-it worker is still there. But Bob was losing cartilage, and it was making it harder and harder for him to walk.
Giving him pain, right?
Right. And I'm sure he's already doing glucosamine and chondroitin and so on. But he wanted to know if hypnosis could help, maybe with condogenesis, the creation of new cartilage. Well, I said, I don't know.
This is the thing,
no
right?
idea.
A lot of the time you'll go, I don't know. But you know what it can't do? Make it worse.
Well, yeah, it's not going to make it worse. That's the beauty of it. The wonder of hypnosis is it's not a panacea, but it's probably one of the closest things to it. An all cure. But you can throw hypnosis at any problem, whether you're using standard medical procedure or psychiatric procedures, whatever, and it will generally act as an amplifier and make things run better. So I said to Bob, look, if you want, I'll work with you. And he goes, oh, he was thrilled. I said, we'll do it tomorrow. So he showed up at the event when we had Ask Mike Anything.
Yes.
That was so pleasing. I was sitting in my chair in the lounge, like the Keith Richards of hypnosis, who I am now. I've adopted that. I have a new ego state for it, but I'm not in it now. And it just all sat at my feet. All these people, like children.
We were all sitting in the carpet.
Children around a wizard.
Because there was so much noise in the background in the hallway. I was just encouraging people, come sit. Just come sit on the carpet. Like kids in the hall. Kindergarten or something.
Yeah, and it was great.
Super fun. I sat there too.
So then Bob, we went off, found a spot. I put him in a trance. I think I just used a conversational approach. He's an excellent hypnotist, so he's capable of going into trance really easily with a little nudge. Just got a nudge. All you need is a nudge. Anyway, he goes into trance. And I gave him all sorts of programming and said, you will not come out of hypnosis until your unconscious mind has done the requisite work to heal this problem and create new cartilage, if that's the way. And so he now begins to process, and I'm used to subject. I'm just mirroring him. So I'm saying that's right. And I'm doing the Terrence one. Yeah. This one. And I had to give up because this was like 20 minutes and he's still processing. And I just left him the instruction. And when you awaken, when this is fixed, you'll come and find me. And that was it. So now we're.
So then you walked away.
I just walked away. Yeah.
Wow.
Signed some autographs and that picture's taken.
What the hell? I have no idea what you just said.
I said to sign some autographs and pictures taken.
Okay.
Okay, now he's not going to go into detail, neither am I. But it was like that, this HypnoThoughts. It was crazy. It was just insane.
It's a lot of fun.
There was a lot of new friendships, a lot of rebuilding old friendships.
Yeah.
We had an absolute blast with some of the nicest people we've ever met.
I love it. Now, stop hitting the table. Because
I'm emphasizing, I'm blading, but I should be doing it in the air instead of on the table.
Hitting the table.
Well, maybe just go to the microphone directly.
Ross editing this video. He's going to be like,
Bob,
Mike, stop hitting the table.
Yeah. Get him to tell me. Tell me, Ross. Don't tell him.
Yeah.
He never tells me.
I won't.
So let's talk about...
Don't triangulate me.
Now, I want to start this off, and you're going to take the story. Okay?
All right.
So when I was doing this Ask Mike Anything, Ask the Wizard Anything, we'd bring people up to ask the question with a pair of chairs. So they could also enjoy the luxury of having their students sit at their feet.
Yes, there you go.
Momentarily. And this guy comes up, and he seems like I might have met him once at HypnoThoughts or something. I hadn't. I'd met him at a different setting. I said, what's your name? He said, JP. And I said, where are you here from? To my shock and amazement, he says, Brickworks Farmers Market, Toronto, Canada, which is where I go every Saturday.
Like, bing, bing, bing.
I remembered I'd met him. He's a farmer. He's a garlic farmer. And he'd gotten interested in hypnosis. And so he had made an effort to get to Las Vegas for HypnoThoughts Live that no human being has ever done.
Just a little bit of effort.
He did a freaking ordeal. This was a Sisyphean task. I mean, it was a labor of a virtual Hercules. Tell them what happened.
Yeah, so Scott Sandlin told us the details, and I don't remember if I have all of them correct, but he started in his car. Then I think he, for some reason, wasn't going to be able to fly there. So he decided,
cars typically can't.
I'll just drive.
Yeah.
And drives to the border, somehow realizes he has the wrong passport. I've done that.
I know how he realized. They asked him for it.
Yeah. There you go.
Yes,
Yes, your passport, sir? Oh,
yeah.
no. Oh, crap.
Oh, sorry. Bob,
goes back home, however many hours.
It's a couple hours.
Gets the correct passport, comes back, gets across the border, starts the drive. He has no air conditioning, so he's got to roll down the window.
For Vegas,
now, when you're working your way into Vegas, it's pretty freaking hot. He's got no stereo of any kind, so he's just probably bored out of his tree. Had a flat tire along the way somewhere.
That kills the boredom.
Yeah, and
a tie rod or something.
Yeah,
too.
something to do with the suspension failed. He had to take the car into a mechanic and have it fixed.
He found like a local welding shop and got some guy just to weld something.
Yeah, because he could fix it himself on his farm when he gets back home. So quite the ordeal. Yeah.
That made him there was just crazy because I do remember meeting him in Toronto. So what we did, Scott Sandlin said, he's a really nice guy. He said he never got frustrated or mad. He just put up with all. I think what a great metaphor to show how we can suffer through some stupid stuff and just come out the other end still smelling great and not annoying people too much. So Scott said, can you guys do something for him?
We said, of course.
We said, yes, we can. I said to Chris, you're the CEO. What are we going to do for him? You said, we're going to give him a full year membership. Mike Mandel Hypnosis.
So we're going to give him the Mike Mandel. Well, we'll already have given it to him. We now have his contact info. By the time this is live, JP, you are in the community, bro. So it's awesome.
It's great, man.
Fantastic. What a great story. So it I think that we said, well, why are we talking about this? And you said, because it shows the power of freaking never giving up.
And it also shows the value of HypnoThoughts Live, that somebody would drive 4.5 days and go through all this turmoil to get there.
Yeah.
It is a phenomenal conference, guys. It really is. And if you're interested in hypnosis at all, whether you're, whether you're a psychiatrist or whether you're a guy or a girl who's just seen it on TV and thinks it's interesting, next year, HypnoThoughts Live, be there. Come and hang out with us.
All right, we got 2 more topics to go through here. 2 more topics that I think are both really good ones, and then we're going to wrap up the podcast. It's been a good one, though.
It's been a great one.
Okay, so as I said, I did a bunch of interviews with people, including Bob Martin, the Conversational Hypnosis HVAC company owner.
Yeah.
But I did a bunch of others. One that I really enjoyed was this woman, Jojo, from Thailand. She now lives in the States, but she's originally from Thailand, and she's awesome. And I basically did this interview about, well, how did you get into hypnosis? What made you interested? How did you then go about finding us at the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy, which she did later on? And then where's your life like now? What's changed? Here's the part that stood out, because again, this will be on YouTube, probably published by the time this is out. So she told me she got interested in hypnosis. To learn hypnosis, you'd think, oh, well, I want to help people. No, you know what? A lot of people get into it because they really secretly, they want to help themselves with some problem.
Yep.
And so she told me the reason that she wanted to learn hypnosis was she was dealing with psoriasis, which of course, I get some in my head and just in this area. Thankfully, it's well under control. But I said, oh, that's interesting. Tell me about it. And so she told me the story about how in the training that she did, I guess the trainer calibrated that she had a lot of anger bottled up inside of her. And so he took her through a process where she had to release all of that anger under hypnosis.
Right.
And she did it with congruence. And then she told me she has not had a single psoriasis flare up since then.
I know, it's fascinating.
And that's years and years and years.
Now, I'm suspecting that she is an Enneagram Type 9, because each of the types has their own issues. And with Type 9, Enneagram Type 9s, they're the nice guy. They bottle up their anger. So the 3 anger types are 8, 9, and 1 on the Enneagram circle. So 8's like me. The anger is externally directed at others. The 1, it's directed at self. I screwed up. It's beat up on themselves. The 9, it's repressed. And put in a pressure cooker.
Yeah, exactly.
And it comes out as psoriasis.
Yes,
I think I've got a case of psoriasis.
Yeah, so I thought that was fascinating because as somebody who deals with that particular problem, not in an extreme way, but enough, I thought it was amazing because I've known for years that physical things can be basically outward manifestations of internal emotional problems.
Derek called organ language, yeah.
Yes, in organ language, people say, oh, I'm pissed off. And we had that situation in the UK in 2017 where Ashley described recurring urinary tract infections. Yeah. And you noticed at that point, she had been using language about being pissed off with her sister or mother or something like that. Yeah. And this is all on camera at the time we filmed it, right? Mm-hmm. So this is a pretty interesting thing that you take over. Talk more about this.
All right. It's these physical expressions of internal emotions that need to be vented. Mm-hmm. And of course, it's like Freud. I hate to credit him, but I have to sometimes. The affect bridge, the finding the emotion that is linked to the problem. And when the emotion is processed, the emotion can take you back to the start if you follow it back, but it can also be an indicator that if you process the emotion so it goes flat, and then we don't want to leave it flat, we want to put something positive in its place, the backfilling thing. When you do that, then the external problem disappears on its own. Which is pretty freaky.
Really cool.
Which leads to this great line, zip up your fly, sailor, that's not psoriasis. Freaking hilarious.
That doesn't even make sense. I love it. That's the whole point.
I know.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap up then with...
It made me itchy talking about psoriasis.
Yeah, well, there's no need to focus on that intently right now, Mike.
There's no need for your psoriasis to turn into scabies.
So let's wrap up. We want to now talk about the potential coming together of the world of hypnosis and clinical psychology or clinical psychotherapy.
Well, let's clarify that. Yeah. The coming together of psychologists who are doing hypnosis and those of us who are, I don't even use the word I don't refer to it as being a lay hypnotist. That to me is a pejorative term.
Let's say a hypnotist who didn't do a classic psychology education or
practicing
anything like
hypnotist,
that.
like a functional whatever. Yeah.
There are groups who believe, hypnosis, that's reserved for PhDs.
Yeah.
Right. And there are people who don't believe that.
Right. And the thing is, hypnosis is happening all the time anyway, just in conversation and watching movies and so on. So everybody's doing it to some degree. But the difference is when we see the researchers at places like Baylor University and Stanford and people like David Spiegel and others, and Cameron Alldredge now, they're looking at things in a different way. And they're approaching this as academics, whereas we approach it as we're the freaking shock troops. So to us, hypnotists are the special forces of therapy. We get in, we make changes with their unconscious. We let them do it, actually. We don't do a damn thing. We don't take the credit. We shouldn't anyway. And things can go away very, very quickly. So the question is, are these two types too far apart? The researchers, like Nick Spanos and Arthur Perlini, are they so far apart that the hypnotists may see them in their ivory tower of theory, whereas they'd see us as irresponsible freaking louts who don't know anything about hypnosis. Well, we've not done the research. We haven't looked at 1,000 people and 1,000 people and all this stuff. But what we've done is learn to do hypnosis really, really freaking well.
Lots of anecdotal stories versus a clinical trial.
Right. And as I said to Cameron Alldredge, I said, and just because something is anecdotal, that doesn't mean it can't be true.
Right.
Some people dismiss it. Oh, that's just anecdotal.
Right. Now, we did an interview. Well, Mike and Dr. Cameron Alldredge did an interview together. I think it's about maybe 12 or 13 minutes. And
his request,
it also should be on YouTube by now. If it isn't, we'll make sure that it does get up shortly. But these are all interviews that happened in Vegas. I'm going to be able to get them over for editing and published hopefully before this podcast goes live.
Now, I don't think you won't be able to get them. You will not be able to get them.
Why?
Because any interview that's done in Vegas stays in Vegas.
No, it ends up on this podcast. All right. So let me give you a little background. I was talking with Dr. Cameron just before I brought him over I said, stay here because you were involved in a conversation.
Nice guy. Yeah.
And I said, talk to me for a bit and then I got to get you introduced to Mike because I really wanted you to meet him. And I had a really fascinating conversation with him. He told me he got interested in hypnosis at the age of 14. So he was a late starter compared to you at 12. I'm joking, obviously, because Mike started at age 12. I started at age like 19 or 18. Cameron got really interested in hypnosis at age 12. And he said, of course, any 12-year-old boy is thinking,
Absolutely.
So that's
right up there with the X-ray specs.
Right. And so he got very interested in stage hypnosis and did stage hypnosis, then decided to go to school for psychology, then did his PhD, and he's now doing postdoctorate work at Baylor University. So he comes at it from genuine childhood interest, entertainment, then into the clinical environment, which is a really great way. That's the same path you went through, minus the PhD.
And I'm an autodidact.
Yeah, exactly. So then he did this interview with you, and you guys towards the end talked about the research that he's doing. I think we should talk briefly.
This is fantastic. Dr. Alldredge, Cameron Alldredge that's because you called him Dr. Cameron.
So Dr. Cameron Alldredge. There we go.
Alldredge with an A. He, we'll edit that out. The thing that was interesting was he talked about the new rise research in psychedelics to help people with their problems and so on, the mushrooms, psilocybin, whatever.
So like a clinical psychologist
setting
might work with a patient and they would take some actual drug,
psychotropic drug,
like a microdose of something.
Or more than a microdose, I'm expecting.
Right. And then they would have like a response to it that would help heal that kind of mimicked in ways hypnosis.
Right. So he started talking in terms of creating a psychedelic experience for people, but with no psychedelics, just with hypnosis. And I thought this was great because I was afraid he was going to talk about the other side, the MK Ultra side, that was George Estabrook and Martin Ornier, and of course you and Cameron in Montreal, who sounded like he was an absolute bastard, giving people LSD without their knowledge, giving them electroconvulsive therapy. They were really messing with people and seeing what the limits were. Whereas Dr. Alldredge, what he and his colleagues are doing is the opposite. They're using hypnosis to create these shifts that are mimicking what the dicks were doing with LSD.
Right, so, but in a good way.
In a good way.
Healing.
Yes.
Yeah. And he said that the results are quite promising so far.
Interesting.
So I haven't seen them. Cameron, send them to us when they're done. I mean,
Chris will send you a picture of his psoriasis.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, it'll be gone. That's my goal.
Right answer. Just checking.
I loved it because yes, he's doing the change work without the actual drug. So in some cases, it's difficult to get in some states, right? Or in some cases, people just go, I don't want that. I don't want to take a chemical. If I can get the same experience hypnotically. Wonderful. I'd like to do that. And it's working. So this is really cool. Now, we were talking with them. It's similar in many ways too. Do you remember, I think years ago, Darren Brown had a video out where he went into like a college environment and he had people hypnotized thinking they were drinking alcoholic beverages when they were not.
Right.
And they were getting drunk.
Well, I think the best in the world at this is one of our former students, the filmmaker.
Oh, Albert. Albert did this.
Albert Nierenberg.
He
created a hypnotic bar where there's no drinks and people come out and get hammered and
here's the thing.
On each other.
I have never formally gone through a process like that, but it reminds me of many years ago. Do you remember when my wife and I, we did the 100-day no alcohol challenge?
Yeah, you got contact high.
Yeah. So you and I typically, I'll just explain this to the audience. So typically after our podcasting and stuff, we work together once a week. We go out and we have lunch and we have a glass of wine with lunch. So I would be ordering club soda. You'd still have your glass of wine. I'd say, no, I'm doing my 100 days, which I did. And my wife quit after 99 days.
99 days.
My kids won't let her down.
Couldn't go one more day.
No, I'm kidding. So her doctor said to her, why are you doing that? That's stupid. Have a glass of wine.
No,
anyway, I did it the full 100 days. And so for all those weeks, you'd have a glass of wine. I'd have club soda.
I think maybe yours as well.
Sometimes I'd have 2 club sodas, you know.
Whoa.
And the thing is, because of the hilarity of the state that we're in when we're at lunch, usually just laughing about
at Colonel Bastards
stuff. Yeah. I felt like I had more of a buzz than I would have from an actual glass of wine.
Well, not more, because you had
more.
2 club soda. But
much
is happening here. And let me sit up.
You called it a contact.
That's the proper term. It's contact high. You know, when you're around people with heroin, you start getting all stuporous.
Wouldn't know.
Wouldn't know. No, here's the thing. In reality, there's another aspect, not just automatically mimicking previous states because other people are in them, especially if you have a lot of people drinking, you're the only one who isn't. It's easy to get drawn into that.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is also anchored behavior.
Yeah.
Because you and I, when we go to Colonel Bastards every day after the studio, we know what we're ordering.
Yeah.
And we get our glass of red, and it's firing that just from context.
Just
there.
Yeah.
So why we drink it all over there?
Major anchor. Yeah, exactly. So I just thought I'd share that because it's a really cool situation to be doing hypnosis to replicate these, what do you call them? The drugs that...
Psychogenic?
Psychogenic drugs.
Psychotropic. Yeah.
Similarly, we already know there's been tons of anecdotal work done on having people feel like they're drunk even though they haven't drank anything, whatever the word is. Stage hypnotists do that all the time.
Well, I know. And let me just put a lid on this by saying, my wife said to me the other day, we did dry January. Never done it before.
Yeah.
And we lasted perfectly. And it wasn't a big deal. And then just the other day, she said, I've been doing some research. I'm not doing that again. She said, there is no real benefit.
Yeah, as long as you keep it moderate.
All you're doing is you're just doing a compliance set for these dicks who are saying, stop drinking for January. And my answer is, sure. Okay.
There we go. All right. So let's wrap it up here. What I want to suggest is head on over to the Mike Mandel Hypnosis website because there's 2 things that you might want to go further with. One is you might decide, hey, this stuff sounds cool. I'd like to learn more about hypnosis. And we put together, honestly, the best freaking offer in the world about hypnosis training. And that is the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy. At least at the time of this recording, we could change things years from now, so don't hold me to it. But you can start for $1. You get 1 week of full access to the full certification program. And then after 1 week, it's $49 a month. And you get every single course we have ever created in that one membership, which is amazing.
It's a crazy
We'll help you out with the pathways in terms of what to do when. But if you're curious about helping people with hypnosis, that is the pathway for you. The other alternative is you might be looking at this going, this sounds really cool. I'd like to really use hypnosis on myself, whether it be self-hypnosis, hypnosis, audio recordings, personal development programs. We put all of our best personal development stuff, there's your technical term, inside something we call the Brain Software Syndicate. That's BS with an extra S. And you can find that, I love that one. And you can find that on our website as well. So head on over to MikeMandelHypnosis.com. Pick the pathway that makes the most sense for you. By the way, the Brain Software Syndicate, currently $9 a month.
$9, that's it.
Almost $2,000 worth of training inside of that.
It's solid stuff, guys. It really is.
And with that, I think we can
close her down. Shut her down. We're going to say
thanks once again, and zip up your fly, sailor. The podcast is over.